views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. We've got an awesome panel today. Of course, always Harry Glanz.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, Harv. How's it going today?
Very good. We'll be working out all our kinks on our Zoom broadcast as always. John Goodman, real estate team, is going to be joining us. And Becky Alley, one of our top producers in the United States, all originators. She's on the line too. Hey, Becky, good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
We want to introduce this great staff we have here. We got an unbelievable panel. John Goodman brings on his daughter, Sara, his whole family team, and of course, Jeremy. And you guys have been on here in the studio, so it's a little different, but you guys know what we do. We give great information about purchasing homes, selling your house, and things have changed a little bit since the last time we saw you guys. I think we saw you back in the wintertime, but it's real exciting to have you guys on this Zoom broadcast because you guys work in an area that's really dynamite. Northville, Plymouth, Canton, Novi. It's really jamming. Tell me a little bit about what's been going on in your life for the last 30 days and what you guys see going on here in the second half of the year. Yeah, it's been nonstop at our office too, which is really good. We've been stressing to really get your all your paperwork in, have a real approval, and have a great plan. John, it's one of the things, and of course, I'm going to let Becky and everyone else here dive in. But the resilience of the market's been fantastic, and you just mentioned it about it's been really competitive and multiple bids and overbidding on all these houses. You have to be in a position in today's marketplace to close in 30 days. Otherwise, you're really not in a position to really start looking at houses.
Yeah, because I think because you guys were on the show, I think in February. So it's right before everything got crazy. And then, so that's why we want to get you back on the show because, I mean, where you guys specifically focus your business is one of the hottest markets right now. I mean, I see your guys' social media. I mean, you're fanning all those offers. I mean, and, when you guys are presenting your, like when you're on your listings, how many offers on average are you kind of presenting to your sellers right now?
It totally depends. We're seeing the most multiple offers between 200 to 400 range, but we're seeing anything above the 6s actually getting a ton of traffic. So a lot more showings than we would normally get. So everything's getting a lot more activity. But multiple offers, even when we're writing them for our buyers, we're competing with, sometimes I've had 12 and 30 offers on the table for these houses. So you have to have a totally clean offer. Try to not be contingent on anything. You have to have a good lender, be totally pre-approved, ready to roll, and be able to get closed quickly. And a lot of crazy stuff going on, but definitely competitive market.
Hey, so Sarah, did you say 30 offers you had to present your seller? Like our seller was presenting 30 offers?
What was that?
I said, did you say that like in some cases you have like up to 30 offers on one home?
That is what we're seeing, especially
Wow.
Livonia and Canton specifically are seeing it more. Northville, Plymouth, Novi too, but especially that 200 to 400 price point. I think there was just so many buyers from the springtime that weren't able to go. And if you didn't lose your job or lose income, you're still ready to buy. And then moving forward, we still have all of our summer buyers. So it was just, inventory really hasn't changed if you look at the 6-year average. So it hasn't necessarily gone down, which I know a lot of people are saying, but we're really not seeing that. It's just that there's so many buyers coming back to the market. The supply demand totally shifted.
Hey, Sarah, it's Harry. I want to jump in here for 1 second. I've got a buyer and here's my phone. I just got a text this morning. I sent out a text this morning because I'm pre-approving a young couple and they're all pre-approved. And I asked them, I said, hey, have you seen anything that you've liked yet? This is a quote. I need you guys to let everybody know what the landscape of the market is. And this was the quote, been looking at houses like a madman. Ha. The market is very tough and competitive from a buyer's aspect. You guys want to elaborate on that?
Oh, very true. Just going into COVID, right? Inventory was very low to begin with.
So it was very competitive. So like Sarah was touching base on just the multiple offer situations, and even coming out of it, it's really just COVID was the only thing that slowed things down. So inventory's been low, prices have been pretty steady or slightly increasing. So it's really a great market, especially if you're a seller to list your home, but it makes it very challenging for buyers where, I mean, like Sarah was saying, you've got to put your best foot forward. If you have any shot to coming out on top, getting the house that you're trying to write an offer on that you really want to end up in. So like your buyer was saying, Harry, it's very, very competitive. And I mean, one house you miss on and the next thing you know, you're not finding something for a while just because there's not a lot of options out there.
Hey guys, Sarah mentioned that the inventory isn't as light as I think a lot of us have been talking about. I think it's regional. I think it's in certain areas. But that's what we're seeing though. I thought that a lot of the sellers are still apprehensive about getting their homes on the marketplace. So maybe the pandemic still has a little bit holding back on the inventory that's out there. Are you seeing that at all? Or are people just, that's all behind us? And that was in April and in May. Yeah, these hot houses go real quick within the first couple
they're
days.
Getting qualified buyers in their door too, instead of just anybody. Whoever's on the market right now is truly looking to purchase. They're not just out looking for fun. So all the sellers are getting qualified buyers through their door, which is helpful too.
Well, I've had some tough conversations, and we did a podcast and we spoke about some tough conversations we have with buyers and sellers all the time this week. And one of the conversations is I've been a little blunt about it. Maybe I can lighten up a little. But we have buyers that can buy a new house without selling their existing house. And the whole timing of if you have to sell your existing house because you need to qualify and use the funds from the sale of your house, you really need a professional team. I was reading a lot. I went to your website last night, the Goodman team. Just unbelievable how you really you stick with the fundamentals and you really start with talking about getting the clients to sit down and have those tough conversations at the beginning. Yeah, they're getting to you, and then you're sending them and making sure they have true pre-approvals and approval documents. They understand the funds to close. Nothing like having the knowledge and the understanding the process of a home purchase. Hey, we're going to take your calls all morning long here. 248-539-9797. You're listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Fund. We got the John Goodman Real Estate team from Coldwell Banker. I shouldn't have to announce these guys. They're probably the top team in Southeast Michigan, or definitely one of them. And
yeah, it's a real estate dynasty.
There you go. And if you're looking at buying or selling a house, you definitely want to give us a call this morning.
And like something like when it comes to the Goodman team, so like your social media is everything right now. I mean, they're giving you weekly, not only seller tips, but buyer tips, like every single week. I mean, just to make sure that everyone is on the top of their game, things that we take for granted because we know they're making sure that their clientele is educated, which is also something that we advocate at Capital Mortgage Funding, because when you're trying to buy a house, you can't start the conversation soon enough because there's so much happening. You don't know. Some people think their credit's bad when really it's not. Some people think their credit's good when really it's not. And at the same time, what you were just talking about, whether they have to buy and sell at the same time. A lot of people think they make $1 million and they can afford all this house and this other house they have, and they can't. So that's why it's so important right now for us to analyze that financial situation. So that way, when you are out there making these offers, the Goodman team knows when they're working with Capital Mortgage Funding or whoever else, that these offers that they're submitting are going to stand out above everybody else's, because that means everything right now.
Well, and like Harvey was saying, we do have to sit down ahead of time and talk to them, not only about the pre-approval piece and the mortgage aspect, but the whole landscape with real estate is completely different now due to COVID. Like there's new guidelines in place due to the governor, the executive orders in place. Buyers, sellers need to know these things because one, you just got to be safe and smart and protect yourself. But two, just to know what the new landscape looks like when getting out there. Like how many people are allowed to go see a house? What do open houses and showings look like? What safety, precautions should be in place just to keep everybody allowed to keep looking at houses.
Go to a break and fix this. Let's go to a break.
The real estate market and everything that's going on in the States. So.
Hey, you guys, good morning to everyone out there. Listen, of course, we're having some technical problems here this morning. We're going to get it worked out. I appreciate all the listeners hanging in there. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket, 248-539-9797. When we come back, I promise we'll get rid of that echo. Thank you.
Harry Glantz and Danberg from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
All righty, welcome back to the show, 9:15. Good morning. If you're just listening, it's June 27, 2020 out there, and these clouds are going to clear up. It's going to be a sunny day. It's going to be a great day to get out there and look for some real estate. You got to have an approval letter. Call Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. And we have the Goodman team on here, Jeremy, John, and Sarah, giving us all sorts of great information this morning. Thanks for hanging in there. We had some technical difficulties, as always, when we do these Zooms, but we're off and running. Hey guys, we see a lot of folks out there giving us the call. We still see some of those for sale by owners out there. How about some tips out there for some families? The curb appeal is very important, but we see a lot of families trying to do this on their own, and they're leaving a lot of money on the table. If you're not familiar with selling your house in today's marketplace, it can be really confusing.
Yeah, listen, hey, John,
Yes.
Let me just say one thing as a lender. I don't step into the real estate space, but oftentimes when people want to list and sell their house by themselves, they think they're saving money, but ultimately it's really costing them more money. They could have got more money in their pocket. Explain how that's just not a good practice.
Oh, it's very true, because when I'll show a home and they're by owner, you get the deal directly with the seller. It's like you can eat them up because they have no clue what they're doing. They're paying whatever they're paying, and they would net out. I've had so many times where they would net out a lot more money if they used a realtor. They just need the full service. They need all the advertising. They need all the expertise to get it done.
Well, you need a professional negotiator to work for you too. Nobody's working on your behalf. And if you don't know, there's so many terms to a contract. It's not just price. And, a for sale by owner, you have no idea what you're doing after that point. So if you're representing a buyer with a for sale by owner, obviously you're representing the buyer and their best interest. So the seller is definitely leaving money on the table. They aren't negotiating their best offer, and they don't know all the terms that come with it.
Yeah, having a trusted advisor like you guys there just to review the document has been key. Discussing home buyers' needs, even the seller's needs, because again, most of the sellers are buyers. So when you guys are usually sitting down with a consultation on a listing, generally they're talking about what their plans are moving forward and their time frame.
You get that, Jeremy?
Well,
Jeremy, did you catch that? Hey, Jeremy, most of the time you guys are sitting down with listing appointments. Those families are also going to become buyers. So it becomes the timing, and the whole conversation gets into timing and all the variables that can come into selling of your house.
No, it's very true. You're sitting down. It can be a two-step process. I mean, the biggest part is just getting, dealing two ends. You got, helping the seller list their home and going through what it looks like with the market and getting the house ready and going with that part. And then the second part is getting them ready, like getting them pre-approved with the mortgage and getting ready to buy and being proactive and looking at that step 2 as well. So.
Not to mention that exposure that you guys are going to bring to the table. I mean, you have someone that is, going to list it for sale by owner because the market's hot. They think they're going to make all this money and they don't know where to price the house. They just throw out a number. At the same time, it's just going to sit there because most agents, they're going to be like to show those homes to their buyers based off of homes that are listed that are properly, showing on MLS, on Zillow and things like that. And, when you have a house that's for sale by owner, it's naturally going to sit longer than when you have a team like the Goodman team, because they bring that exposure, that social media that's going to just blast everyone with that house. And that's how you're going to be getting these 6 to 30 offers, which is crazy. 30 offers is crazy to me, but that's just a testament to the lack of inventory right now. That anything that's halfway decent, it's going to be shown. It's going to be shown quick, but you need to have the right people in your corner to make sure that you're getting the top dollar and you know what to do after you have an accepted offer.
Well,
a simple question to ask is just, are you
correctly so people are competing for your house, right? If there's multiple buyers out there, great, price it perfect and you're going to get them all through the door. If you don't, you're not, and you're missing out on people. I just went to a listing appointment the other day to take over a listing because her realtor is not marketing anything. So even if you're not for sale by owner, it's still hiring the right realtor to make sure you're getting that maximum exposure. Otherwise, you're missing out on a ton of buyers that are in the market.
Actually, kind of both, really. Downtown was quiet for a little while, which was really rare because everybody likes to walk to town. That's changed a little bit because of not, everybody going to the restaurants and stuff. It's not as sexy, I guess, if you will. The town has been on fire, and it's kind of climbed all the way up to the $1 million price range. I put a lot of stuff up in the 750 price range, and you never got multiple offers. We're starting to get that. One of the ones I put up had a swimming pool because of the quarantine. People are like back to family life and want to be in their backyard. And I'm actually seeing a lot of people buying second homes now because they're not going to go on vacation. So they're just going to have a second home instead, which is really rare. So.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of that. How about the new style out there called these jewel box mansions, smaller spaces? Our next generation, the retirees, are they looking at downsize? And if they are looking at downsize, they don't need to have 4, 5, 6 bedrooms in the big yard anymore. They might be looking for these dynamic spaces that are 2 bedrooms, but are really have all the amenities that they're looking for as they get older in life.
Well, that's a lot of the multiple offers you're seeing is you have downsizers competing with first-time home buyers. So they're all going after the same houses, and it just depends on the cash flow.
Got old money versus new money.
Right. But they got a lot more of it.
Well, yeah, so hopefully that they planned it right. We even talk about like where, people that are downsizing, like it's not their first rodeo, but sometimes it's been 10, 15 years since they bought a house before. So, they're kind of going back to, well, when I bought a house, it's different, like Jeremy mentioned earlier, there's different things that are happening because of COVID, especially on the lending side. There's been some things that we've had to adjust because people were losing their jobs or getting laid off in the middle of transactions. So, we need to make sure that if you are thinking about buying a home, because like it is true, we're getting a lot more pre-approvals for people that are buying second homes. But again, the financials are everything because you have to make sure that you can qualify for 2 homes now. So in quarantine, I'm thinking about getting a pool my dang self. So in case like we can't ever go anywhere, but you need to make sure you have everything in place and looking at your pre-approval and making sure that your income document has been given to us is everything. So that way, when you're working with a team like the Goodman team and they're going to call and say, hey, we have this pre-approval and I need to know, did you look at this income? Because they have to make sure that everything's legit. And I have to be able to say, yes, I've looked at their income. I've checked their credit. They do qualify. And when I say this is going to be a smooth transaction, I mean it. If it's going to be a little bit bumpy, I'm going to also say that too. I think honesty is everything. I try to be transparent, as does Harvey and everyone else at Capital Mortgage Funding. But the Goodman team does too. They're not afraid to answer and take those hard questions up front to tell you and set those proper expectations. And that's why I love working with them as a group, because they know what they're doing, and you get what you pay for sometimes. The proof's in the pudding for sure.
Yeah, to put a wrap on that one,
buyer,
as Becky mentioned before, it goes like this. I'm running into a lot of, I never had to do that before syndrome. I never had to provide you this document. I never had to get you all of this. I never had to do all that. Well, life has changed. And specifically, it changed around here on about March 20th, where everybody was locked indoors. But from a mortgage documentation standpoint, I can't tell you how many previous clients have told me, Harry and staff and everybody and Becky and Harvey, I've never had to provide this to you before. Well, it's a new dawn. It's a new day, right? And in your business, things have changed also.
Well, like you're talking with the lending side on the listing, when we receive an offer, we have to, like you're saying, Becky, we've got to call the lender that's supplying that buyer and make sure, hey, did they lose their job? Did their income change? Because a lot of these people were walking in with pre-approvals from February or January, even the beginning of March, and that doesn't mean that they still qualify for what they did then. So if anything changed with income or your employment, that could totally shift your pre-approval and your ability to purchase. So especially on the listing side, if we receive an offer, we have to double check so we know that we're actually going to closing with a qualified buyer.
I like that point, Sarah. Sorry to say that we still find buyers that are calling us up and they say, hey, I just made an offer on a house, and they don't even submit their documents, or they have a pre-approval, but they never submitted their documentation. Are you seeing it on the real estate side too? Are there still listings out there? Here we are in 2020, where people don't stage their homes properly, where they're not taking advantage of that third bedroom and turning it into that office space that so many families are looking for now.
Yeah, it's critical. And the other thing too, people need to understand is updating their homes, and simple things like taking the big, heavy, giant drapes down and things like that. Some lady broke her heart the other day, but the house is so much brighter, and she's like, oh my God, I really like it. So there's a lot of little things you can do to get rid of a lot of the clutter and just have their counters all clear. And, just people like the clean, nice lines now. And the younger generation doesn't want to lift a finger. They don't want to move wallpaper or anything. So.
Yeah, they want to move in condition. How about these worthy backyards of entertainment? I'm fortunate enough that I do have a little space in the backyard, and we threw down on the new barbecue this year. But no doubt, we're all outside. I'm not ready to hit the new restaurants quite yet. I mean, good luck to all the families out there that are willing to do that. And I want the restaurants to be packed, but not that packed. But that being said, I'm okay eating in my backyard. And are you seeing that even when you go to a house now? I don't know. Maybe I should start off in the backyard. Maybe a new buyer might even start out there to see what the space looks like.
You're like
it's
that
definitely
one
important.
swimming pool. They went right to the backyard to see it. It's like a little resort back there, and that was the big selling factor. Good point.
John, how about in the 70s and the 80s? We couldn't get any value out of a swimming pool. Now it's finally come around, Harry. I used to tell Harry, but look at this. This house is gorgeous. It's got $100,000 backyard. Look at this.
And I would say to Harvey, no swimming pool, Harvey, no.
Now they're really good. Hey, we're up against a quick break here. All right, we think we got the audio thing figured out. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We're going to come back with all your calls. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
All righty, welcome back to the show. 9:30. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. You can reach us there all week long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We're always powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, equal housing lender. We got the Goodman team on from Caldwell Banker out in the Northville, Novi area. Always fun to talk about real estate and mortgages this morning. And of course, it was really interesting how things start off here. Of course, we're always used to having home buying season really kick in the spring, of course, in the Midwest, more specifically here in Michigan. But boy, January and February were gangbusters. boom, then we have the pandemic and things got really interesting. But boy, are we looking at a great comeback. It's been obviously a lot of bottled up buyers in there, and we're now getting the multiple offers. So a lot of fun out there. If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate, be sure to call us here at 248-539-9797. Hey, you guys, I was talking a little bit about some different things out there, affordability in our area. And no matter what city you're in or what region you work, your farm area, even in your backyard, you guys got price ranges all over. But where do you see the bottom now for those first-time home buyers? Where is that bottom level? Let's just say anywhere in the surrounding areas that you guys work.
Well, we got a lot of first-time home buyers that are various price points, and we've got stuff, whether it's a condo or a nice home in the hundreds, 200s. We've got people that are looking in the 3 to 5 range. We even have people that we're helping in the 600 and 700 too. So it just depends on what their price point is, and thankfully the area that we're in, like you're saying, Harvey, our backyard, it has a wide range of options out there for buyers to find their first home and be really happy when they do.
Yeah, whether you're looking for a condominium, there's still some of those options out there. Also, there's been sort of a plethora of some new construction, obviously, as we continue to move west. It's sort of been connecting like our 696 here in Oakland County all the way out to the west side of the state, and definitely headed out to East Lansing and Michigan State. Whether it be the Wixom and the Milford, you just keep working your way Hamburg as you keep going out there all the way through Brighton. Brighton's just a great area too. And again, talk about another area that's extremely affordable and has lots of different price ranges.
I mean, I think that right now you're seeing like the higher price points that used to sit, like we were talking about, they're now getting traffic too because there's such a lack of inventory. And as far as first-time homebuyers, my experience, as for me, I feel like that first-time homebuyer is waiting a little bit longer in some cases to buy that first home. So they're coming out straight out like net 200, 250 easy. Whereas before you used to see more of like the 150 on average for that first-time homebuyer. But I do think that first-time homebuyer price point has just naturally progressed higher because they're waiting a little bit longer. They're saving a little bit more money. One thing we for sure want to advocate, though, is you do not need that 20% to be a first-time homebuyer. You can put as low as 3% down, but obviously everyone's financial situations are different. But it's for sure it's a different animal and it's ever changing. And our new normal, I'm still digesting it every day. It's like, some of the stuff I can't believe. I'm like, man, I can't believe this is happening. But, we've adjusted and here we are doing Zoom and on the radio at the same time and talking real estate and all that stuff. I think it's crazy, but it's good at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
as far as affordability goes too, we always have people call like Becky before they start the process. So almost everybody's going to get pre-approved higher than what they want. I always talk to buyers, especially first-time home buyers, when we sit down in that buyer consult. And, if you ask them, once you get to the price point, what's your max price? I have no idea. I'm like, talk to your lender first. Call Becky. She's going to work with you backwards. So tell her what your monthly budget is, and then she'll work backwards with you. So that way people aren't house poor. They're, able to save money, invest money, put money other places. But stick within their budget so that their monthly payment actually meets their financial budget, and then they know what their maximum purchase is.
I'm actually really glad you brought that up because we talk about that quite a bit, and you kind of take it for granted because when I am talking to someone for the first time, I'm asking them, what is your price point? Like, what is your pie in the sky that you want to aim for? What is where are you comfortable as far as your down payment funds, and where do you want your payment to be? So we do right off the bat, we know that you're going to have to step into it in a multiple offer situation, most likely. So I am telling them what their absolute max is based off what they're telling me. So I can say, okay, you can qualify for 500,000. That doesn't mean you need to go that far. This is what the payment is in case you're not seeing something that you want in your max 450 price range. It's important for people, like you said, not to be house poor, to be comfortable, but also not to have hungry eyes, right? See that beautiful, look at that $600,000 house, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're settling for scraps when you're finding a $400,000 house, which sounds crazy, but still, it's important for when we write that pre-approval, I'm sending it over at your max. So that way we can make sure that when you see that offer, you can make it with confidence, you know what your payment is, and you're comfortable. That's everything.
Well, and we're seeing in these multiple offers, people having to do appraisal guarantees. So I've actually, like a lot of people, again, like we said, don't realize you can put less money down, right? I had a first-time home buyer that just wasn't cutting it. We were coming in number 2 every single time. So we kind of talked, and I said, well, if you took the $5,000, towards what you were going to put down, and instead we put it as an appraisal guarantee. So they put down a little bit less, but now they had an extra $5,000 to be able to put a guarantee down so that they were in competition with the rest of the market. So there's
That's a
ways,
great
you
point.
can kind of work that stuff, but then they still know what their payment is. They still feel comfortable. They're confident, but just kind of shifting that direction a little bit.
Sarah, what you just said is like real estate 4.0. That's a graduation. That's a master's in real estate right there, because it's hard to understand that. They're right. So what we're really saying is, let's say on a $200,000 house, 10% down buyers got $20,000 down payment. But if they agree to put, let's say less money is 5% down, that extra $10,000 might be needed to buy that house at 210. They might have to come up with the extra $10,000 to outbid everyone else in that marketplace. And boy, that $200,000 marketplace, that's one of the hottest ones out there. It's in between, like you said, competing for families looking to downsize, and of course, all the new buyers looking to get into their first home. Hey, we got open lines all morning long, 248-539-9797. I like intelligent talk about real estate. The top agents out there, we automatically know in the industry. I know you guys know when you're talking with qualified people, usually the first step is that we can get in touch with you, communication. And having a great team behind you is the ultimate. If you're thinking about buying a house, definitely give us a call here on the show. We'll get you set up the right way. One of the things I checked out on your website last night was how you guys started the process. You talk about truly breaking down some things such as pre-approval, and then you also talk about that consultation, finding out what a borrower's needs are, their wants, their needs. I really like, I think your website is, if people have never gone to it, they should. So check out the
I think they have a great website.
Online site. It's just really good. It's a good start for anyone out there that just wants to dip their toes into finding out if they want to become homeowners. So 248-539-9797. We'll definitely take all your calls all morning long. Hey, you guys, I want to talk about refinancing real quick, because it sort of plays into when families bought a house. A lot of families just bought a house in the last couple of years. And some of our buyers, like you said, only went 3 or 5% down. Well, great news out there is you can come back to us and get most likely a refinance to remove the mortgage insurance. That's right. If you've lived in the house for 2 or 3 years, a lot of the files, Becky, if you want to talk about it, we're getting property inspection waivers and taking our clients who just bought homes in the last couple of years, we're automatically getting them right to a 20% equity position and getting this PMI, making it go bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just, you're letting your biggest asset work for you on these refinance transactions. That we've been in an appreciating market. The rates are the lowest they've ever been in the history of ever. I mean, so it does make sense that if you bought within the last 2 years, even within the last year, I have some people that bought last in January, and we're already talking about refinancing because the housing market and at the time their financial situation, it does make sense. I mean, so if you are looking to refinance, and what I'm actually seeing right now too is some people are even using that equity to pull the cash out and then turn around and buy a second home, because they want to just have that cash on hand. They qualify for that. So they're using their first asset to buy their second biggest asset. And it makes sense financially because they can just go in, make that offer for cash, and they don't have to worry about, that's going to stand out maybe in these multiple offer situations as well. I mean, so we can shorten your term, reduce your rate. It's, give us a call. Sometimes it doesn't make sense though too. And we're going to tell you, we're going to be honest. And, if you are at a certain rate and it's not going to be, you're saving $50 just because the rate sounds better. Okay. It's not going to make financial sense for you in that aspect, in that regard. So call us. And actually I want to hear from people too, as far as, I want to know what it's been like for sellers and buyers right now in this pandemic, the nitty gritty things that we don't even think about, right? Where you go from looking at houses based off of pictures that you saw online versus now you can get in the house and actually look at them. Like I've had a couple people like, it's totally different. People do crazy pictures and you get in the house finally and it's totally different, I do want to hear from the callers on that as well. So give us a call at 248-539-9797 so we can talk about your refinances and what your purchase transaction's been like.
Yeah, over the last 50 years, the average mortgage interest rate was 8%. So when we're talking now, they're 60% lower here in 2020. Even the older generation, even our second, third time homeowners, they know the rates are ultimately low. Be sure to call Capital Mortgage, 1-800-LOW-RATE. At least find out how you can save money. The spike most recently with the coronavirus was sort of interesting. It appears that we're making waves. The stock market is moving in the right direction. But boom, when they start announcing more and more of these cases, the market tanks, interest rates stay down. When we come back, we're going to talk about these low interest rates and how you can take advantage of home ownership. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glanson Danberg from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
All righty, welcome back to the show. It's 9:45, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show here in Southeast Michigan. Hope you guys are sort of enjoying the show here. Well, I hope you're really enjoying it. A little bit of an echo problem. These Zoom broadcasts, you know what, we could just never figure them out, but we appreciate everyone hanging in there. We appreciate if you'd like to give us a phone call, 248-539-9797, buying or selling real estate. We've got answers for you. We got the Goodman team on here. John Goodman is a local name here in Southeast Michigan, and his family, Jeremy and Sarah, they do a fine, fine job of helping anyone in any situation. So if you're a first-time home buyer or if you're looking to get your house on the marketplace, you're a little scared. And a lot of you guys, a lot of the buyer or the sellers out there are scared about, can I find a place out there? They keep hearing, and they're not sure they're going to be able to find that great home. So tell me a little bit about a couple things here that timing, to me, it's all about timing. We started off the show talking about, are you qualified without selling your house? And if you are, you can really put a purchase agreement together which says you don't have to close right away. And if you do close, you still have 60 days of occupancy to stay there.
No, it's a great point. You got to come out strong, and you can't put the cart before the horse. We've been talking about this the whole show, but then more so how to make your offer as strong as possible. You got to really just read what the seller's looking for. So are they looking not only to close quickly, but can they stay in the home a little bit longer? So can you sweeten the pot with some type of occupancy and offer some favorable terms there? And then also we were all talking about it earlier on the show too, about, do we do an appraisal shortage guarantee if we're going over asking price? Is there multiple offers in the situation? So it depends on, it's never black and white. It's always gray, but depending on the scenario that you're walking into, if it is a multiple offer situation, if a seller really can demand certain things to try to get the best terms they're looking for, but also you're trying to work for your buyer to help them come out on top with that house, there are a few things that you can do to help them ultimately come out with that house at the end of the day and win that offer that they submit. So
some of the options where it's multiple offers, people waive their inspection, which I think is idiotic. I lost one in downtown Plymouth. There was 10 offers. We came in second, but the people in front of us waived their offer on a 1924 home. It's just suicide, I think. So.
Boy, John, they better have the money to fix anything that could potentially come up. And again, that really plays a part in it. If you want to be in downtown Plymouth, and it's a great segue, you better come with your guns loaded, because if there's some reason why the sellers are attracted to that offer versus the other offers, and that's sort of interesting. You got to look at it from both angles.
Yeah, we preach on that one.
Go ahead,
Go ahead, John.
Go ahead. I was saying we've also done none of us will ever tell a buyer to waive an inspection. That's just crazy. But you can always back out of a deal, right? So I've actually had a buyer, instead, we put on there that they wouldn't ask for anything under $1,000. So there's still some sort of guarantee to the seller. Like, I'm not going to come to you with a nitty gritty list of 100 little maintenance items, or minor things. I'm willing to take, the fall and pay for that stuff. It's just if there's something out of the ordinary. So there's still some sort of guarantee, but you're still protecting your buyer to make sure that they're getting a good home.
That's the difference between a great real estate team is on the purchase agreements, you can have addendums, you can have additional conditions. You have to use those in 2020. And I think more so in the last, truly since the recovery, the Great Depression of 2008-9, we are seeing real estate agents come with more information and fill up and use those. And really things have to be spelled out on those purchase agreements. But I like that you just threw in another caveat is on the home inspection. Generally speaking, on a home inspection, you're going to find $2,000 to $3,000 worth of miscellaneous maintenance that needs to be done. But again, if you want to present your offer and you want the seller not to come back or be scared of you, you can put on there something like, we're not going to come after anything small, but we're looking for the big ticket items.
Yeah, I mean, not nickeling and diming someone, but I think that what they're, we preach that as well. Like, do not waive your home inspection, because you never know what you're getting into. And like he was saying, on a 1924 home, I mean, that's like historic. There's going to be so many little things that you're never, plumbing, all this stuff. I mean, so there's other ways that you can make your offer stand out. Like, Sarah was saying, an appraisal guarantee. Are you going to want to set a cap on that? I mean, because appraisal guarantee, if you just put that on there, if you're working with a real estate agent that's not experienced, that could mean your price goes through the moon. What does that even mean? You got to make sure you have the right agents with you, so they set those caps, and that way you're only going to pay $5,000 extra versus $15,000 or whatever might happen.
Hey, you guys, I got a caller on the line. Let's go to a caller here. We got Vince out in Brighton, and good morning, Vince. Welcome to our show. Your question is, your daughter wants to buy a house. Tell us more about it. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A minimum is typically 6 months before that's going to be reported in a positive way to the 3 different credit bureaus. But I'd like to see her get 2 credit cards. She probably, with 2 credit cards after 6 to 12 months, would be able to have enough established credit to get approved on an FHA mortgage. And she doesn't even need that much down. Hey, and I'm interested in this, Vince, because I have 2 daughters also. Vince, how old's your daughter? She on the younger, yeah, but not too young to buy a house. Yeah. With the credit. Yeah, never too early to start that. And definitely it's a good salute out there to anyone out there. If you want to put if you're paying your bills on time, you can put your kids, if they're 18 or older, on these credit cards, and that can build credit up for them. And of course, you want to make sure that you're going to pay all these bills on time. Hey, Vince, very interesting. She didn't establish the credit when she was younger, but boy, she saved 20% already. So she definitely's got her feet grounded and she knows what she's doing. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would.
What?
Well done, sir.
You do, Vince, is you could put her on one of your cards that you've had for like 20 years, just as a signatory. She doesn't use it, obviously, but that way you can build her up credit for, you know, it'll look like she's had credit for a long, long time. Yeah, one that doesn't have a whole lot of transactions on it, like a Kohl's card or something that you hardly ever use, but the fact you've had it 20 years makes her look like she's been on there 20 years too.
Oh, we're gonna share your number with you, Vince. You get these guys working with your family; it'll be perfect for you. Hey, there you go. Thanks for the call. It's great information. Really appreciate that. Hey, you got to start. Go ahead, Beck.
Well, I was just going to say an authorized user. So like I was 17. My mom put me as an authorized user on a Sears card. I used to work there. So we're trying to buy something. And, you know, so like right out of the gate at 17, I already had A+ credit because my mom put me on as an authorized user. You know, so that's what John was saying as well. Like sometimes when someone is, you know, people think like, oh, I don't want to open credit. Okay, well, credit. You need to have credit when you're trying to buy larger transactions like a home, right? Also, same with your income. We need to see that income on paper. So, you know, there's different ways you can establish credit without having, you know, to kind of like stay off the radar. You need to be on the radar when you're thinking about buying a home in the next year or so. So you are making the right steps, but I do think that tip to add her as an authorized user to one of his established credit cards would probably help propel her to a credit history a little bit faster than the secure card for sure.
There you go. That's always good information for anyone out there looking to buy a house. Hey, you guys, we're up against the end of the show. You got some final thoughts? Maybe a couple things to throw out there for some new buyers or sellers.
Be prepared and be ready. Don't put the cart before the horse, like we've been talking all show.
There you go. I always like that one. Definitely have a real plan together. How about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I think if you think you're not ready yet, definitely talk to us. You know, we can sit down with buyers and make sure we can get you prepared so you can figure out if now is the time or how long you need to wait. As well as sellers. A lot of sellers, like you said, might be resisting. We have been on a ton of listing appointments, so they might have to wait to buy something or they want to wait to find something. And you can always do a reverse contingency too, which people don't realize on the seller aspect. So you can sell your house, accept an offer with terms that you then have to find a house in 30 to 60 days or something. So you can still sell your house and be able to find the right house for you.
I love that, a reverse contingency. John Goodman, final thoughts.
Yeah, and you can also put on the listing that it's contingent on you finding a home of your choice. That protects you if you do get a full price offer where you can get out. The other thing is to have multiple pre-approval prices, you know, so you're ready to rock and roll, you know, depending on.
It's great stuff. I always tell the clients, hey, look, here's a pre-approval for 200 or 250. But if you want one to match your offer, call me all weekend long and we'll get that for you. Hey, you guys, always great to have you on there. Sorry about the audio, but hey, we got it all throughout there. We're going to help you save money if you're looking to buy or sell a house. Hey, for the Goodman team, for Becky Ellie, Harry Glantz, we want to thank everyone for listening. Be sure to call Capital Mortgage, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, call the John Goodman Real Estate Team, Coldwell Banker. That's 248-770-3114. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports social commentary. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll see you next Saturday.